Please, somebody help me. My baby, please, help my baby.
They say life has a strange way of returning what we send into the world. Sometimes it comes back as a blessing. Sometimes it comes back as a test. But what happens when the person you once ignored, the person you left bleeding under the hot sun, becomes the only person who can keep you alive? This story begins on a burning afternoon in Lagos, and it ends in a hospital room where pride knelt before mercy. Listen carefully, because this story is about choices and grace. The sun was merciless that afternoon. Heat rose from the asphalt in visible waves. Car engines grumbled angrily. Conductors shouted destinations with impatience. Between rows of vehicles moved a heavily pregnant woman with a blue cooler balanced carefully on her head. Her name was Hannah Williams, 8 months pregnant. Her ankles were swollen, her back throbbed with every step, but she kept walking. "Cold, pure water! Cold water!" Her voice was soft but determined. Inside her womb, her baby shifted. "Just a little longer," she whispered to her stomach. "Mama needs to sell at least 10 more." Hannah had once dreamed of becoming a school teacher. She loved children. She loved books. But life had other plans. When the private school she worked for closed down and her husband Daniel's mechanic workshop began struggling, survival became more important than dreams. They needed money. Rent needed to be paid. Food needed to be bought. So she hawked. Even pregnant, even tired, even when strangers stared. Across the traffic sat Vanessa Cole, 24, stylish, educated abroad, daughter of a powerful real estate businessman. Her SUV gleamed under the sun, air conditioner on full blast, music loud, phone pressed to her ear through Bluetooth. "I don't care about traffic," she snapped. "I have a brand shoot in 30 minutes. Vanessa had never known hunger. She had never sold anything under the sun. Her life had been smooth roads and soft beds. Traffic irritated her. Hawkers irritated her even more. "They make everywhere look dirty," she often complained. That day, impatience crawled under her skin. The cars ahead moved slightly. A small opening appeared. She seized it, pressed the accelerator, didn't check properly, didn't slow down, didn't notice the pregnant woman stepping forward, and then impact. The sound was violent. The cooler flew into the air. Water sachets burst like rain. Hannah's body hit the ground. Her head struck the asphalt. For a split second, time stopped. Then screams filled the air. "You hit her! She's pregnant!" Vanessa's hands froze on the steering wheel. Her heart hammered so loudly she could hear it. In her side mirror, she saw Hannah lying twisted on the road, blood slowly spreading. Her stomach tightened. She should step out. She should call for help. But fear swallowed her. Police, arrest, scandal, her father's anger, her image destroyed. Someone began approaching her vehicle, and in that moment, she chose herself. She pressed the accelerator, and she drove away, leaving behind chaos, leaving behind a woman between life and death. Daniel Williams was tightening bolts under a customer's car when he received the call. "Are you Hannah's husband? She has been involved in an accident." The world went silent. He dropped his tools. He ran. He didn't even remember how he reached the hospital. When he saw her through the glass doors, unconscious, pale, blood-stained, something inside him broke. "God, please," he whispered, "take me instead." Doctors rushed her into surgery. Severe trauma, internal bleeding, emergency C-section. Daniel waited outside like a man being judged. Hours later, a faint cry echoed down the corridor. A baby girl. Alive. But Hannah was critical. Machines breathed for her. For 3 days, Daniel slept on a plastic chair beside her bed. On the 4th morning, her fingers moved. Her eyes opened slowly. "The baby," she whispered. Daniel placed the tiny bundle in her arms. She survived. Tears rolled down Hannah's face. They named her Grace, because that was the only explanation. Hannah survived, but she would never be the same. The accident damaged her spine. Standing too long caused unbearable pain. She could no longer hawk. Medical bills piled up. The driver was never found. No plate number. No justice. Just silence. At night, when pain kept her awake, Daniel would hold her hand. "God will repay," he would say. But Hannah would shake her head. "I don't want revenge. I just want peace." She started a small roadside food stall where she could sit while cooking. Life was hard, but Grace grew. Healthy, bright-eyed, a living reminder that death had failed. Vanessa never spoke about that day, but she never forgot it either. Sometimes she would dream of a blue cooler exploding, of blood on hot asphalt. She would wake up sweating. For a moment, guilt would wrap around her chest. Then she would push it away. "It was an accident," she would tell herself. "I was scared." She buried the memory under parties, fashion shows, vacations, and filtered photos. Years passed. She built a glamorous life. But guilt is patient, and it waits. It happened during a charity gala. Vanessa was smiling for cameras when her vision blurred. The room spun. Then darkness. When she woke up, she was in a hospital bed. Tests were done. More tests. Her parents sat silently. The doctor entered with a grave expression. "Your daughter has a rare blood disorder. She would need regular transfusions immediately. Her blood type was extremely rare. Finding a match would be difficult. Without it, she might not survive." For the first time in her life, Vanessa was afraid. Truly afraid. Money could not buy blood. Connections could not force compatibility. Days passed. She grew weaker. Her skin lost color. Her hands trembled. And somewhere deep inside, the memory of that pregnant woman resurfaced. Across town, Hannah heard the hospital's urgent announcement asking for rare blood donors. Something stirred in her heart. "Let me test," she told Daniel. He hesitated. "After everything you've been through?" She smiled softly. "If my blood can save someone, why not?" The nurse returned stunned. "You are a perfect match." Hannah felt no anger, no hesitation, only calm. She lay down quietly. As her blood flowed into the donation bag, she closed her eyes and whispered, "Let it give life." She did not ask who the patient was. The transfusion worked. Vanessa stabilized. Color slowly returned to her cheeks. She insisted on meeting the donor. When Hannah entered the room, Vanessa stared. Something felt familiar. Then she saw it, a faint scar on Hannah's forehead. Memory exploded in her mind. The road, the scream, the pregnant woman. Her breath became uneven. "It's you!" Hannah looked at her steadily. "Yes." Silence filled the room. Vanessa's lips trembled. "I thought you died." "You left me there," Hannah replied quietly. Tears streamed down Vanessa's face. "I was scared. I didn't know what to do." Hannah said nothing. The weight of truth hung heavy between them. Finally, Vanessa whispered, "Why would you save me?" Hannah's voice was calm. "When I was lying on that road, strangers helped me. If they had driven away like you did, my daughter would be dead." She paused. "I decided I would not let someone else's mistake turn me into a bitter person." Vanessa began to sob uncontrollably. "You should hate me." "I don't," Hannah said, "but you must live differently." Those words pierced deeper than anger ever could. Days later, Hannah returned with her daughter. Grace was now 16, tall, intelligent, full of life. Vanessa stared at her in shock. "This is," Hannah replied, "the baby, the one you almost took from this world." Grace looked at Vanessa calmly. "I'm grateful my mother chose forgiveness," she said gently. Vanessa broke down. Seeing Grace was like seeing a second chance she didn't deserve. This time, Vanessa did not run. She confessed publicly. The scandal was huge. Headlines spread everywhere. But she refused to hide. She funded emergency response programs. She supported victims of hit-and-run accidents. She compensated Hannah and Daniel, not as charity, but as responsibility. She visited Hannah regularly, not to ease guilt, but to learn humility. Over time, something changed inside her. She became softer, kinder, less proud. The girl who once sped through traffic without care now stopped for pedestrians. The woman who once drove away now stayed. Years later, at a road safety awareness event, Hannah and Vanessa stood side by side, not as enemies, but as women connected by destiny. Vanessa once spilled Hannah's blood on the road. Years later, Hannah gave hers freely. Grace watched them and smiled, because she understood something powerful. Mercy is stronger than revenge, and sometimes the life you almost destroy becomes the life that saves yours. Before you go, ask yourself something. If you were Hannah, would you have forgiven? If you were Vanessa, would you have confessed? One decision can change everything, and sometimes grace is the most powerful form of justice. If this story moved you, subscribe to The Gracious Voice for more powerful emotional stories. Like this video, share it with someone who believes in second chances. And remember, life has a way of bringing us face to face with our choices. Make yours wisely.